Hey guys, how many of you have ever tried building a fire on your own and then found yourself thinking, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought? Well, if that's the case, you're in luck, because that's exactly what we're going to cover next on this week's bonus session of Manly Moments. Has anybody seen my blowtorch? You know, whenever I think of the fall, I think of colorful leaves, apple cider, ripe pumpkins, and backyard bonfires. But in all honesty, I've never had much success when it comes to starting a fire on my own. It seems like I go through a whole box of matches and an entire Sunday newspaper and never gain much traction. And yeah, I can use lighter fluid, but that's kind of like cheating. That's why I'm so fired up to have my good friend and fire pit expert, Zack Grubbs, join us today. How's it going, Zack?
Good, thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, Zack and I have been friends for quite a while, and it seems like whenever we have a gathering with friends that's outside, he's always the one building the fire. So even though I've seen him do it many times, I've never really been taught the proper technique to build one. So today is real easy. Zack, can you teach me, all of us, how to build a fire?
Sure can.
Great. Fire away.
So really, when you're building a fire, don't be in a hurry. Make sure that you have yourself a good base, which would be like newspaper or small kindling like this. If you're out in the woods, kindling could be anything from dried grass or dried leaves, or if you're in here in town, you can use newspaper, or here's a little tip. Dryer lint is about the best tinder that you can come up with, which I always keep a bag next to my dryer just in case. When it comes to actually lighting the fire, you can go old school and you can use flint, or you can use your basic matches, or today we're actually going to use just a household lighter. Step number 2 is adding a little bit thicker stuff, maybe about an inch in diameter, and this will help keep the fire going until you put the bigger logs on. You'll notice when I'm putting the bigger stuff on, I put it in kind of a pyramid form, and that helps air get into it, and then it normally forces the smoke straight up, and that way it keeps breathing and it doesn't smolder itself out. And now the third step is you put bigger logs on, and these are going to keep the fire going for a long, long time. So you don't want to overload your fire with like 10 logs. You want to start with just 1 or 2, maybe even 3, until they get going, and then you can start putting more on once it's really going. And then once your big logs start to burn down, they get so hot that they're almost white hot, and that's when you know that you've arrived.
Wow, Zack, you make it look so simple. I feel like I'm ready to set the world on fire.
Now hold on. Whenever we deal with fire, there's always a safety aspect involved.
Well, maybe you could share with us some of your best safety tips today.
Sure, I can do that.
Let's do it.
So, safety tip number 1, choose the right spot. Try to be about 15 feet away from anything that's flammable, especially if you're out camping, like your tent. That would be your main thing. And also make sure there's nothing overhead, like power lines or branches. If you're out in the woods, put some stones around it to help contain the fire. Or if you're in town, you can use a fire pit like I'm using. Safety tip number 2, be prepared. Keep your fire under control. Always have a shovel and a bucket of water handy. Safety tip number 3, make sure that your fire is completely out when you're done. Make sure that it burns totally out, and then you want to douse it with water until it's completely soaked. Also, if you're out in the woods, make sure that you disassemble your fire ring and scatter the rocks. And here's a couple extra tips. Never leave a fire unattended, never use flammable liquids to start it, and never burn garbage, glass, or cans in your fire either.
Wow, you've covered so much information. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose.
It's best to just use common sense. Remember, when you're playing with fire, you will get burned.
Well said. Well, I guess the only thing left to do is to douse this fire with a bucket of water. So if you don't mind taking care of that, I'll go ahead and wrap up. That'd be great.
No problem.
Hey, if you like this channel... Oh, I almost forgot. I was going to say it might be easier if you used the garden hose. Hey, go ahead and leave a comment. If you like this channel, go ahead and subscribe by clicking the red box below. We'll see you next time for another Manly Moment.